Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Alternative Investments Chat. Today, we're going to be breaking down some very exciting investment opportunities. They're cool and unique, and they're cars. Yes. Specifically, high-end cars. Your car that you drive to and from work, that might be an investment in a way because it gets you to and from where you need to go. But that's not the kind of investment we're talking about.
No, not today. So from rare Ferraris to modern hypercars, and even some of those sleeper classics, luxury automobiles aren't just for showing off. I know, 30-something-year-old men, sorry to tell you that, but they can actually be a very serious financial asset. Mm-hmm. But what makes a car go from a weekend toy to a multi-million-dollar investment? Mm-hmm. We're going to break that down. So how do you spot the next big collector's gem before prices skyrocket? And is it really possible to make money while enjoying the ride? So buckle up as we dive into this unique asset class.
I'm liking all the puns in this one.
Yes. Oh, they're all throughout. You're very welcome, everyone.
Yeah, lots of car puns. So high-end cars can be considered an investment for a few key reasons, though not all luxury vehicles appreciate in value. So let's break down what makes some of them a smart financial move. One of them being rarity and exclusivity. Limited production models, special editions, or one-off collaborations tend to hold or increase value due to scarcity.
Okay, so I'm so sorry because I know we completely just started. I'm going to cut you off. I swear I'm just going to talk about a few little things and give our guests our listeners some fun facts. And then I promise I'll be quiet.
I love it.
So fun fact number one, I am actually a very huge car lover. I love vehicles. I love luxury cars. Very fortunate to have some in our family. So it's very fun to have them and to drive them around. Especially, those rare and expensive ones, just like me, I'm rare and expensive. Don't ever forget that. Right? So also for the next fun fact, please listeners, don't come for me. I fight back. But we want to just talk about what I feel is like the rarest car. Not just what I feel like. This is one of a lot of also car enthusiasts feel. So the title of rarest car is often debated, but I think the reigning queen, and yes, all cars are girls and they are all princesses and queens. Anyone who watched Gone in 60 Seconds, I did in the theater probably 15 times. But the rarest car to me is the Ferrari 250 GTO. Okay. So there were only 39 of these cars actually made. And they were actually designed for international sports racing. Cool. Aerodynamic, really cool, fast. It is said that Enzo Ferrari himself actually had to pre-approve those worthy enough to even own those vehicles, those 39. He had to give his little mark of approval. And also it's believed that all 39 of those vehicles are still in existence. You'll understand what I mean existence here in a second, with their documented lineage. Okay, that's a big thing as well. So the most expensive one of these GTOs was sold to David McNeil, the CEO of WeatherTech in 2018 for $70 million.
That's an expensive car.
Yeah. So I'm I don't have that much money, but I would die to own one of these. So now just to kind of mention a few of the other vehicles that are attempting to, take over first place here. And again, I swear I'll do my best not to interrupt you. So we've got a Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic. Now, there were only 4 of these cars built.
Wow.
Only 3 are still in existence.
Okay.
So one that was built for Jean Bugatti. He built it for himself for his personal use. It was valued at over $100 million.
Wow.
It vanished, supposedly.
Yeah, how do you vanish a car?
This happened in World War II. They put it on a plane, they put it on a train, not a plane. They put it on a train to try to hide it from the Nazis.
Okay.
And it was scheduled to go to Bordeaux. Never made it.
Wow. Okay.
Just vanished. I'm telling you, it's out there somewhere. And then, according to Jay Leno, if you're a car enthusiast, Jay Leno has a podcast, or actually, I don't think it's a podcast. It's technically like a series of shows. It's called His Garage.
Okay.
He shows off all his cars. He claims that Ralph Lauren actually owns the most beautiful Bugatti. And Ralph Lauren actually owns 2 of the 3 in existence.
Wow.
The third one is actually in a museum in Oxnard, California.
Okay.
So if you do want to go see one of these really awesome cars, unless you know the person who stole the other one, I'm telling you it's
Right.
there. We can go out to Oxnard and go to the museum. Now, there's one other car that I really love, and that's the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. And it's a one-off hypercar sold to a mystery buyer for $19 million. Now, you're thinking $19 million, that's not that much, but that is the most expensive new car ever sold.
Wow.
And again, whoever bought it, it was pre-sold. It's a one of one. It was pre-sold. Nobody knows who the buyer is, or supposedly knows who the buyer is. And it was actually built as a tribute to the Type 57 SC Atlantic.
Okay.
So those are my fun facts. I swear I'm done being a nerd. I won't interrupt anymore. Continue. Why are these cars financial moods? I'll be quiet.
Okay, cool. Well, fun fact for me is that I know nothing about cars.
Yeah.
So I'm in a huge deficit compared to you when it comes to talking about this topic. But it was cool to definitely learn some of these things. So continuing on, another thing to look for is brand and heritage. Yes. You recognize brands like Ferrari, Porsche, and Bugatti. These all have a track record of producing cars that appreciate over time. Their reputation for performance, craftsmanship, and legacy help maintain that strong demand. And Haggerty's Collector Car Index shows certain models can appreciate 10 to 20% annually.
That's pretty decent, if you ask me.
Pretty good. There's also collector demand that plays into this. Classic or modern classics, example, 90s JDM Legends vintage Aston Martins. I do know what an Aston Martin is.
Nice, okay. Point for Erin.
Point for me. Often attract collectors who are willing to pay a premium for a well-maintained, low-mileage example of a car. Also, historical significance. Cars that are associated with major racing wins, famous owners, or groundbreaking engineering, for example, the first hypercar of its kind, tend to be highly valuable.
Yeah.
And also, inflation hedge. High-end cars like art and real estate, which we've talked about before, can act as a hedge against inflation. Tangible assets often hold their value better than the currency in uncertain economic conditions. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, very true. And again, you mentioned this already, but not all luxury cars are investments.
Right.
So mass-produced luxury cars, like base models, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, things of that nature, they tend to depreciate rapidly. Mm-hmm. Overproduced supercars that lack rarity, so like the Lamborghini Huracan, it's like their base model. Sorry if you're poor and that's all you can afford.
Shots fired.
They may lose value before it actually stabilizes. So, However, with that being said, though, the global classic car market was valued at $31.1 billion in 2023, and it's expected to hit $51.3 billion by 2028. So, how does somebody actually add one of these amazing vehicles to their investment portfolio?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here in Arizona, we actually have a little auction that is known by the name of Barrett-Jackson. Barrett-Jackson was founded all the way back in 1971 in Scottsdale, Arizona, by 2 car enthusiasts. You'll never guess their names.
Yep.
Tom Barrett and Russ Jackson.
Yep.
Wow. It all started with a simple passion for classic cars and a small auction to actually sell a few prized vehicles. What they probably didn't expect was that this little event would turn into like the Super Bowl of car auctions.
Yes, it did.
It's a huge event here. We worked in the hospitality industry, and anytime Barrett-Jackson wasn't like happening, it was absolutely nuts at a restaurant.
Yep.
So very popular. And it has become like a cultural event. This is like a staple event. It's not just an auction, it's an experience. People who aren't even going to buy cars go and attend. So we're talking televised broadcasts, celebrity cars, charity sales, live music, and jaw-dropping collections crossing the block in front of tens of thousands of fans who are all excited to see these cars.
You're absolutely correct. And you mentioned it. Some of these people, they're not coming to buy because majority of people can't afford these vehicles, but you come to see it.
Yep.
Can you imagine taking pictures of one of those Atlantics, those Bugatti Atlantic? I would like die. But you know, and this car auction turned into this huge thing. So like now today, Barrett-Jackson hosts auctions in Scottsdale, Palm Beach, Las Vegas, and New Orleans, drawing collectors, investors, and dreamers, aka myself, from all over the world. It's become the place where $1 million hypercars and mint condition muscle cars find new homes, and where the prices the trends are often set in real time, which we'll talk about too. And this phenomenon actually has been coined the Barrett-Jackson Effect. So why don't you explain what that effect actually is?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So here's how it works. Let's imagine a pristine 1970 Chevy Chevelle.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah, imagine.
Okay, I need gloves. I need
you need gloves.
I need a scarf.
Yeah,
okay,
and a little cat eye glasses. So this comes around the block. The crowd is hyped. They're all excited. The bidding is electric. Money is flying, and it ends up selling for $200,000. Okay. The moment that gets broadcasted on TV, social media, collector forums, everywhere, everyone hears about this. Yeah. Suddenly, people start thinking, okay, so that's how much Chevelles are worth now, you know? Sellers take note, listings go up, and prices start rising across the board.
Yeah.
So that ripple effect is called the Barrett-Jackson Effect. But here's the catch. It doesn't always reflect the true value of the car.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a one-off example. Maybe this is a car that has super low mileage, which obviously increases the price, was celebrity owned, or just got caught up in a bidding war. Maybe just two people really wanted it really bad.
Somebody wanted that Chevelle.
Yep.
Hardcore.
And that price starts, getting jacked up. So it's important to know whether you're looking at real market value or just auction hype.
Yeah, because that can really skew you. So it's great advice if you're looking for, if you're someone looking to buy a car, especially as an investment. You don't want to spend too much money on it, but you want to get a really good value so that when you do get ready to sell it further down the line, maybe at Barrett-Jackson, cross it across that block, and people go wild for it, you're actually getting a good value.
Right.
So let's say you're not really ready to drop a few $100,000 on a Ferrari just yet, but you want a piece of the action. So good news, there are multiple ways to invest in exotic cars, and it's not always about full ownership anymore. So let's break those down, those investments.
Yeah, absolutely. So Model 1 is that traditional ownership. This is the old school way. You buy the car outright, you store it, you maintain it, and hopefully down the line you would sell it for a profit. This gives you the most control, and of course you get to be the person to drive it and to enjoy the car if that's, what you do. But it also comes with all the costs, that insurance, the storage, the maintenance, and the market risk.
Got it.
Number 2, which we've talked about in a lot of different asset classes, is fractional ownership.
Yeah.
So it's like a timeshare for cars, except instead of a beach house, it's like a Lamborghini Mira or a Bugatti Chiron.
I'll take either.
Either one.
Christmas is around the corner. Start saving now.
Okay, I'll make a note. When you see one of those parked in the parking lot, you'll know it's for you.
Exactly.
So you get a part ownership in that. So there's different platforms that actually can get you in on this action. Rally, Otis, DuPont Registry Invest, all of these let you buy shares in a car. You don't drive it.
That's the bummer.
Yeah, that is the bummer. But you do own a slice of its potential upside. It's lower costs and a lower risk way to get started in the collector car market. And obviously it's way more accessible to the average investor. So an example, Rally offered shares in a 1980 Lamborghini Countach, LP400 S Turbo.
I only have one. I could use another though.
This is so funny because I'm really just like saying, like, I don't know anything about cars.
See, and you really, say it, and I am like envisioning.
I know you can like
windows down and my hair, and, the wind going through my hair. I love it.
I don't even know what engine is like on the car I drive every day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anything, but I love that you love it.
Yeah.
Now I know how to like get you all excited.
Yeah.
So that car was actually appraised at $635,000. And it was divided into 5,000 shares. all of those shares sold within a week.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that obviously demonstrated the strong investor interest in the fractional ownership of these cars. You know, it's a cool investment. People are excited about it.
Yeah, I definitely missed my chance on that one, but I do go on Rally often and see what kind of cars they have. I also like to invest in baseball cards and basketball cards. I'm a weirdo, and so
Nerd alert.
yeah, exactly. And so I think it was a Lamborghini last time I was looking on there, but I was quickly browsing. But it's fun to go on that website or that app and then just kind of like scroll and be like, man,
Yeah,
I
see
can
what's
have a
there.
little chunk of this. It would be really fun.
Totally.
So Model 3 is tokenization and NFTs. Again, we see this with a lot of our alternative asset classes. So I like to say, welcome to the future.
Right.
Companies like Dream Cars are putting exotic car ownership on the blockchain. So they create digital tokens representing real cars, and investors can trade those tokens like stock or crypto.
Interesting.
So it adds transparency, liquidity, and opens up global access. But again, just like with crypto, there is volatility. So you got to be careful. Model 4 is investment funds. So some firms now offer managed funds that pool investor capital to acquire and hold collections of classic cars and exotic cars. So it's kind of like there's like 4 or 5 of them in the little collection that you can pool your money towards. It's completely passive. You don't get to pick the cars, however. You don't get to get behind the wheel. But it's a very legit way to diversify your portfolio, which we love, with automotive assets. So whether you're, willing to own the whole car or just a piece of one or hold tokens on the blockchain, there's a lane for every investor in today's exotic car market. So the roads are open. Choose your ride. Yep, some more.
I love it. So we've talked about the potential gains, flashy models, and new ways to invest, but now we got to hit the brakes.
You got it.
And we got to talk about the risks. Exotic car investing can be exciting, obviously, but it's not all champagne and showroom shine.
No, you get it out the showroom and then you got to wash it yourself. You realize how long it takes.
Yeah. So here's a few things that you should consider before jumping in. Number 1, depreciation. We know this, right? Some cars appreciate, but many don't, as we've mentioned. Some lose value the moment that it hits the pavement. The trick is knowing which models are likely to gain value over time and not lose it. And that can be difficult. Maintenance and storage. These aren't your average sedans, right? Exotic cars require specialized maintenance and parts that can be insanely expensive.
Yep.
If you miss a service window, your resale value could actually tank. And, you need climate controlled storage. You don't want to just be leaving your car out to, endure the elements.
Especially here in Arizona. Could you imagine your luxury vehicle just melting?
Right. Paint, literally like melts off of cars here. So obviously that's not cheap.
No.
And insurance costs. Exotic car insurance is a whole different beast. I remember in high school, one of my friends, she bought a Mustang, a red Mustang. And granted, it's not like a luxury car or whatever, but her insurance on that car was crazy.
Yeah.
Number 1, because it was like a sports car.
Yep.
Number 2, because it was red. So, if we're thinking about that and then we're expanding it to like these ultra luxury cars, like I can only imagine how expensive it is. Premiums are obviously high and coverage can be complicated, especially for rare or vintage models. And if you're not factoring in those costs, your profit margin might just disappear before you even sell.
Yeah. Truthfully, I don't even want to think about the costs on those because you're right. When we were all in high school, we all drove like little beater cars and like insurance was $35.
Yeah, $35 a month
and,
or whatever.
You didn't have to really worry about it. I laugh because my dad actually owns a car lot. And while he doesn't do exotic cars, but we have a lot of very practical cars, my sisters and I all drove the exact same car. So it passed down. So I drove it first, then my sisters, and then my dad ended up selling it to a family friend and he did the same thing for his kids.
That's funny.
It was this teal, now I'm going to draw a blank on what kind of car it is because it was so old because we love to name our cars. And her name was Squeaker because the fan belt was loose. And so it squeaked when she rolled.
I like that.
But yeah, no, $35. I'll keep my insurance at that price.
Yeah,
I can't. So in addition to all the other things you've already mentioned, there's also market volatility, which we absolutely know. So the collector market can be emotional and trend driven. Again, when that Gone in 60 Seconds came out, everybody wanted that Mustang Shelby because it was like the fancy one on there. And then you like Fast and Furious, everybody wants like those Hondas that cannot, but in the movie, go underneath the moving semi trucks that are super fast.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why, but after that movie came out, I obviously wanted to put Nas in my car. I'm like, I drive a Stratus. I don't think I need Nas in my car, but for that, I wanted it again because you see what's out there and you want to copy that.
Yeah, sure.
So one day 80s Porsches are hot. Next year, everyone's chasing those little Japanese cars, like I just said. Timing is everything. Hype cycles can lead to inflated prices, and then they come crashing down.
Right.
You also have liquidity. So unlike stocks and crypto, you can't just sell a car with a click. Finding the right buyer takes time, and selling through an auction house, as we well know, comes with fees and commissions that eat at your profits. You can't just drive a luxury car onto the platform at Barrett-Jackson and say, give me your money.
Right.
I want to sell this bad boy. No, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. They need to check the lineage. They need to check the miles. They need to, do all the things. And then they charge you for that. Right. Obviously. Then there's provenance and authenticity, just like I was talking about, especially with classics. Documentation matters.
Yep, totally.
A missing service report or a questionable VIN can kill a deal.
Yep.
Which you don't really think about. I know sometimes, like, again, when I was driving, I had on top of my little Stratus, I moved to a little Mazda. And again, my dad would be like, did you change oil? I'm like, I think I did. And he's like, okay, come on. We got to go, as a car that doesn't really matter, you sometimes forget.
Sure.
And you're like, well, in fact, I had a friend who didn't change oil and it caused her motor to seize and blow up.
That happens.
Because your car needs oil. But like, if you miss that on a luxury car, it really can drastically mess stuff up. So always verify a car's history before investing. And if you're not sure, bring an expert.
Yep.
And with that, unfortunately, this brings us to the end of the road on this asset class. I could live here all day. Trust me, I want to.
You had too much fun with all these little.
I know that I got this episode and just went down rabbit holes. It took me way longer because
you were having fun.
I did a lot of the research.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And that's why I said you need to take the reins on this one. Reins. Preview to our next episode. So anyways, the bottom line here is that investing in exotic cars can pay off, but it's not just a game for the unprepared, right? You need to do your homework. This is with any investment. Mm-hmm. Do your homework, work with trusted sources, and know the road ahead before you commit to the drive.
Yeah. You got to. So whether you're eyeing your first Ferrari or just streaming in carbon fiber like I do often, knowledge is horsepower and the smart money drives with intention. So until next time, stay curious, drive smart, and keep your investment running in the fast lane. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the alternative investments chat.
See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.